Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for many blessings, for how, you guide us and you create us and be with us as we learn. Thank you for this opportunity. In Jesus' name, amen. Well, we talked about how important, in order to heal diseases, is to get back into what we were designed for, right? The laws of health. And then we talked about that we need to aid nature in getting rid of impurities. So these things are very important in this process. So we're going to talk about how we aid nature to get rid of impurities. This is what we're going to do. And one of the main organs of elimination is the liver. We're going to learn some things of the liver, and then we're going to go into a deeper dive on how is it that we cleanse and also the impact on our body when we do that. It's part of the digestive system. The liver is, and it does more than just aid us for digestion, but it's basically part of this wonderful digestive system, and it's a complex organ. It's just not it does not does one thing only. It does hundreds and hundreds of things. There's many processes going through the liver, and it's like a city, compared to a city that has many things going on. For example, if something is not working right in a city, let's say, for example, the electricity, the electrical grid of the city, what would happen in a complex city? Even in this small city where we live, or this town, if there's a electrical problem, there's going to be many issues. Or what about the sewage system? What if the sewage system is not working correctly? There's going to be a lot of problems. So there's a lot of functions, and it's as critical as that each function works correctly. And the liver, it's like that. It has many functions, just like a city. I'm going to show you a video here. And I want you to pay attention to what's going on in this video as it goes. So then we'll ask questions and discuss the video. Oops, sorry.
There's a factory inside you that weighs about 1.4 kilograms and runs for 24 hours a day. This is your liver, the heaviest organ in your body, and one of the most crucial. This industrious structure simultaneously acts as a storehouse, a manufacturing hub, and a processing plant. And each of these functions involves so many important subtasks that without the liver, our bodies would simply stop working. One of the liver's main functions is to filter the body's blood, which it receives in regular shipments from two sources. The hepatic artery delivers blood from the heart, while the hepatic portal vein brings it from the intestine. This double delivery fills the liver with nutrients that it then sorts, processes, and stores with the help of thousands of tiny internal processing plants known as lobules. Both blood flows also deliver the oxygen that the liver needs to function. The blood that is received from the intestine contains carbohydrates, fats, and vitamins and other nutrients dissolved in it from the food you've consumed. These must be processed in different ways. In the case of carbohydrates, the liver breaks them down and converts them into sugars for the body to use as energy when the filtered blood is sent back out. Sometimes the body has leftovers of nutrients that it doesn't immediately require. When that happens, the liver holds some back and stacks them in its storage facility. This facility works like a pantry for future cases when the body might be in need of nutrients. But the blood flowing into the liver isn't always full of good things. It also contains toxins and byproducts that the body can't use, and the liver monitors these strictly. When it spots a useless or toxic substance, it either converts it into a product that can't hurt the body or isolates it and whisks it away, channeling it through the kidneys and intestine to be excreted. Of course, we wouldn't consider the liver a factory if it didn't also manufacture things. This organ makes everything from various blood plasma proteins that transport fatty acids and help form blood clots, to the cholesterol that helps the body create hormones. It also makes vitamin D and substances that help digestion. But one of its most vital products is bile. Like an eco-friendly treatment plant, the liver uses cells called hepatocytes to convert toxic waste products into this bitter greenish liquid. As it's produced, bile is funneled into a small container below the liver, called the gallbladder, before being trickled into the intestine to help break down fats, destroy microbes, and neutralize extra stomach acid. Bile also helps carry other toxins and byproducts from the liver out of the body. So as you can see, the liver is an extremely efficient industrial site, performing multiple tasks that support each other. But such a complex system needs to be kept running smoothly by keeping it healthy and not overloading it with more toxins than it can handle. This is one factory we simply can't afford to shut down.
So, there's a lot of functions. Anybody remembers one of those functions that the liver does? The video was very entertaining. I think you get an idea of all the things that it does. Anything, one thing. I just want to know. It release toxins. What else? Creates blood clots. Yes. The clotting agents for the blood. What else? Yeah, filters. Produces bile. Processes vitamin D. What else? Helps with carbohydrates, proteins. What else? Stores carbohydrates or sugars. So it's a storage facility too. What else? Well, there's a lot of things that the liver it's able to do. So it's an important organ that you should take care of. Now, it has something I find interesting. Here's the liver, as you could see. And you can see these purple lines. This is a portal system. So basically, it brings nutrients into the liver. I'm going to say that everything that gets into your body, it's going to end up in the liver. The liver will manage what it's going to be done with it, because it's also a distribution facility. It distributes all the nutrients that the body needs. They go to the liver, and from there, they go to the whole body. So it's a distribution facility, and it's very important that we understand that everything that enters into our body is going to end up in that liver. The liver has to manage and dictate where those things go. That's what one of the things that we recommend is that, you know, we have, for example, in our diet to be simple diet. Don't make, for example, I've seen people with juicing, for example, that you see that people put three to probably like 7 ingredients in a juice. You see that in the videos here. 7 ingredients in the juice. Well, each of these vegetables, they have micronutrients. And these micronutrients, there's thousands of micronutrients in just one lettuce or carrot. So who's going to take care of moving these nutrients in and out to the body? Is the liver. So when we put a lot of mixture of different nutrients, we actually overwork that liver. That's one of the things I wanted to point out, because everything that comes into your body is going to go to the liver. What about, you know, the deodorant that you put in? The chemicals that you put in your deodorant, where are they going to end up? In the liver. In the liver. The shampoo you use, it's going to get through the scalp, it's going to get into the liver. You see, you have these patches. Have you put these patches? I was just, I saw a medication that I never seen before in the hospital. There was somebody with high blood pressure, and they put like a little cream And in that cream, they put a patch in their chest or any soft tissue, and that medication was to lower the blood pressure. They didn't have to take it in through their mouth. So even though, you would think that the digestive system is where things go in, they can also go in through your skin. And where are they going to end up? They're going to end up in the liver. So anything that comes in contact with you and goes into your body is going to ultimately end on the liver. So when I see the liver, I see an organ that is actually handling everything that comes to it, and he has to direct where is it going to go. This is very important. Think about this. How everybody has anesthesia before, especially local anesthesia for a filling or something in your mouth. They go in and they put this needle, they give you some anesthesia, and they say, what is the question? Tell me when your lip feels what? Numb, or your tongue feels numb. And sometimes, depending on the person, it's like, it's not numb yet. And they go put more. Is it good now? Yeah, I couldn't crack anymore. Yeah. So, all these things are coming to the liver, and the liver needs to say, okay, parse them out. What is this? Is this a nutrient? It needs to go this way. If this is a chemical, what do I do with these chemicals? Where do I send the chemicals? Anything that cannot be used to energy for the cell or building new cells or functions of the body is going to try to get rid of them. But sometimes he cannot keep up, and those slip through. And when they slip through, they do actually do the function that the doctor wanted you to numb your tongue and to do the things they need to do. So if a liver can get rid of these toxins that are coming in quickly enough, they're not going to do the effect that is expected of them. So they have to be able to do a higher dosage that the liver cannot keep up with them most of the time. So that's why I wanted to show you this. Now I want to point out something interesting, that the spleen here, the spleen, in Spanish is called vaso. Yeah, in the spleen, it has a function of looking at the red blood cells, and they look at them and say, inspect them and say, are these good or bad? It tags them, and the liver goes in and says, this is a tagged cell, red blood cell, and it's not good, so it goes and converts it into a platelet on something else. It's actually using that for something else. Your liver has these dugs, it's called bile dugs. You could see them here. These are very, very big. They're not as an artery, they're actually bigger. And it's composed of lobules. Now, the interesting thing is that just one lobule can do all the functions of the liver. So you have 2 eyes, you have 2 ears, you have 2 kidneys, because it's important for you to have some redundancy. The liver is an important organ. It's a big organ. It's one of the biggest organ, if not the biggest organ after the skin that you have. And it's divided in lobules. So if the rest of the liver goes bad, as long as you have one lobule, you can survive. Actually, in liver transplant, that's what they do. They actually don't give you a new liver because your immune system will get crazy. So it's just a lobule. And from there, it continues to grow, actually. It's very impressive. So these lobules, they produce bile, the hepatocytes, which are the cells of the liver. They produce bile, and they go through these bile ducts. I just want to point out that the bile is made out of 73% water. Remember this, because this is going to be important later on. 73% water. So what happens if you don't drink water? Your bile is very thick. Okay, when the liver produces bile, it stores it in the gallbladder. Okay, the gallbladder is very important to as a storage of bile. And we're going to see why this is important for each of us today. It looks like an anatomy class, but it's not. It's more than that. We're going to see in a minute here. Now, here's the functions of bile. Why bile is important. It helps you with processing fats. Okay? So if you eat fats, the way to get them into the blood is through bile. Another thing that bile does is detoxification of heavy metals. So if there's any heavy metals, the toxicity, the bile has a function of cleaning those out, the bile salts. Also, it helps you change the pH. Change the pH. The food that is coming out of the stomach is coming out at a pH that is acid because the stomach is acid. So it kind of changes the pH of that. And also, it helps you kill or destroy bad gut bacteria and maintain a balance. So you can start seeing the importance of this. People have flora, intestinal flora imbalances. And sometimes you can point to a problem with bile production. Okay? If you don't have a gallbladder, we're going to talk about those things. The question was, what happens to somebody that doesn't have a gallbladder? And we'll see what happens with you don't have a gallbladder with you. Okay? Now, I'm going to use the board. To show some principles on why it's important to have a gallbladder. You have a liver. You have the liver ducts, right? They provide bile. Bile gets stored in the gallbladder. Now, I am going to point to some information that probably you weren't aware of. But basically, your body produces bile, and this is very important. Produces bile in a rhythm, and it produces it starts the production at 3 a.m. in the morning, and it ends at 3 p.m. That's the range of bile production in the body. And I thought this was crazy. Why would it produce? I thought it would produce anytime it's needed, it's required. But it's not. It actually has a rhythm. It has a clock where it produces this. So what determines this? This clock is determined by the sun. When you see that type of light coming in, your eyes, they come in through your eyes, your retina, they stimulate something called the SEN, the suprachiasmatic nucleus. And that starts setting clocks for all the cells and different organs. So basically what happens is that inside your liver there's some genes that have a clock and they wake up at 3 a.m. and start producing bile. You peak around 9 a.m. in the morning. That's when it peaks. The highest amount of bile production. Now, what happens after 3 p.m.? Let's say you eat a meal after 3 p.m., maybe at 5 or 6 p.m., and you were eating, let's say, a piece of chicken or a pizza. You need bile to digest that pizza. Where is it going to get the bile for it at that time? It has to be stored. Where is it stored? In the gallbladder. So what happens is whatever is stored here, it will get used for the digestion of that pizza after 3 p.m. So your question was, what happens if you don't have a gallbladder? Well, you have some limitations then. Because after 3 p.m., if you eat that pizza after 3 p.m., it's just going to rot in your digestive tract. Doesn't have an ability to digest. Okay? So it's a problem. Now, I'm going to put another limitation, and it's not a limitation, it's a design. And when I say design, God thought maybe, I have all these components working together. I got the sun, the moon, the day, animals, the trees, plants, all these things are working together. And they have a plan. I have a plan. And we're just inserted into that plan or that design. So that's how all these things are. The capacity of production of bile for everyone runs around 4 to 6 cups per day of bile production. That's a limit. Okay? That's a limit. I can say that probably most of us are producing no more than 1.5 cups per day. Okay? 1.5 cups per day. So let's look at the problem. If this is what bile production is, bile is used for the digestion of food too, right? Every time you eat something that has proteins or fats, you're going to produce bile. And it's also going to help with, when the food comes here, the food that it's here is actually coming acid, and it's going to come to this area here. Now, there's some limitations where in order for you to absorb meals into your blood, you need at least 2 parameters that are key. Number 1, the food needs to be with a pH above 7. And second, it needs to be water soluble. That's in order for you to have absorption of food into your bloodstream. So if the pH coming out of here is 3, the food is coming with 3, how is it going to get to be absorbed? Where you have a pancreas here that sends sodium bicarb to change the pH, and you have bile that also helps change the pH so the food can be absorbable. Now, at this moment, we're going to take a small break, and we'll come back and we'll continue the importance of not just a gallbladder, but production of bile and what it does into our body. Okay? So let's take a break. Okay, I'm going to start going a little bit faster. We'll come back. I'm going to go a little bit faster on the class. So we're looking at the liver, its function. Why is it important to have a gallbladder, for example? Because that was the question. And really is that we have some limitations in our body, or not limitations. There's probably, we were designed some ways that we are now, because of the light that we have here, the artificial light, we are able to kind of tweak the design a little bit, try to tweak the design a little bit. But actually, we're designed to function early in the morning, get up, wake up, start doing our work, and then in the afternoon start slowing down, stop digestion, stop some things so that we can start getting ready for rest, heal, and rebuild. Okay, that's how we're designed. So it looks like these genes in the liver that produces these things, they have that design implanted in them. Somebody asked me a question, what if you are somebody that worked at night, and you're working at night, and how do you deal with this issue? Well, what if the suggestion was, what if you come up, work through the night, and then you come home and you have shades completely dark, and you sleep through the day, and then you wake up later with the lights and do your business. Yeah, your clock will change if you change that pattern of lights when you have light available to you. Okay, so that could be changed and it can improve. I had actually a nurse here that had that specific situation, and that's exactly what she did. She worked through the night, and she basically, during the day, she slept, and it was extremely dark. I don't really see light at all. It's extremely dark. So she was shifting her biological rhythm or clocks. Now, I mentioned that we should produce from 4 to 6 cups a day of bile. Now, we're probably producing about 1 to 1.5, I think, from what I see, because of different lifestyle patterns. For example, I'm not drinking enough water. You don't drink enough water, you don't have enough bile. So you're dehydrated. You cannot expect your body to send water or send water to different things that are needed. For example, the blood needs water, the brain needs water, your lungs need water. So then you have to, there's a lot of competing events here or competing needs of water. So when that happens, you're not producing the amount of bile that you need. So what if you are a person that snacks? I eat very frequently. I'm eating something. I'm eating nuts here. I've seen people that just eat, I just snack on almonds. They're healthy. But you're snacking on almonds, you have a limited amount of bile through the day, and you're just basically using that bile every time you snack with your almonds. In order to get digested. So now it comes late through the day, and you have the capacity, and it's the cup of bile is almost empty by the time you get to your last meal. Then you have a heavy meal at night, and it goes boom into your stomach. It stays there. It's just going to rot there, and it's going to happen. The problem is going to happen that bile is there to maintain a balance of bacterial of your flora. Well, it cannot do that anymore. So you have an overgrowth of bad bacteria. You have all these issues. Not only that, you don't have enough bile to emulsify the fats, and that's something that is very important. You see, sometimes I see, these are some of the things that bile does, and sometimes I see people with problems with hormonal problems. There are hormones all over the place. Probably men have low testosterone or women with cycles all over the place, hormonal problems. Why do they have those problems? Well, here's a big issue. If you don't keep this design, how you were designed, you're going to have problems with your hormones. And here's why. Bile is extremely important for the absorption, or is extremely important for the absorption of fats. Now, what are fats used for? To produce what? Hormones. Hormones are produced out of fat. So if you don't have the foundation blocks to produce what you need, what are you going to have? You're going to have problems with your hormones. As long as you start getting back to this rhythm of your liver or your body and not snacking all day and eating healthy, your bile production starts increasing, your body starts getting in shape, and your hormones get better. And I see it all the time. Once you start doing the recommendations we're giving you, I have never seen anybody, well, let me just give you a case. There's a person that came here, and that person was bleeding. So a woman that was bleeding, right? Bleeding, and she came for a very short amount of time. And the only option it was given to her was to extract everything. We got to take everything out. She was 22, 23 years old. She had no children. Her life story, it's a very sad story. Since we're recording, I'm not going to say this story. But it's a very sad story, right? and she had found a good man, and she wanted to have children, right? And when she got here, she was just bleeding and bleeding and bleeding and bleeding and bleeding. And, you know, she started doing the program for the time was here. By the time when she left, she was still bleeding. We said, you know, just please have faith, continue, and do some therapies, you know, to get your body in sync. She continued, and you know, there's so many people that come on and off that you forget about these all the cases that you have immediately unless the person comes and contacts you. One day I received a picture, and you know what picture it was? Sonogram. It was a baby. The bleeding has stopped. There was a baby coming. Now, it was a wonderful story, and basically after the recording, I'm going to give you the details because it's an amazing story. Not too long ago, I received the other picture of the second baby. You know, the hormones stabilized. Why? Because you go back to the clock how you were designed to. You produce the material that the body needs in order to heal and get things working. If you have raw material, the body will produce and do the things that it's supposed to do. And this is not the only story. I have many baby stories, and we call them lifeline babies because, you know, the option that they had was, you know, complete extraction. That's it. You don't have any other option. And now they have babies, and it's fine. It's fun. It's just great to see, you know, these miracles happen. But it's actually just going back to God, how God designed you. And you need this bile production in order to absorb fats. And when you don't have this production of bile, then you just don't have, it's impossible to get fats into your, you know, the amount of fat that you need. And you see, I said that the food or whatever item that it's going to go into the blood, it needs to be water soluble. And fats are not water soluble. You put fats in water, they float. So bile, what it does, it just emulsifies it, breaks it apart, and actually makes it to go into the bloodstream. So it's a very important thing. Same with men with testosterone problem. You know, they have a low testosterone and they think they have to use gels and use these things. Basically, they have the same problem. They don't produce enough hormones because they don't have the raw material to do that. Now, another thing is that when you don't work according to this program, you also, since the food is not that completely digested, then you're going to see that your bacterial flora in your gut is unbalanced, will be unbalanced because of it. Okay? So to balance that out, if you want to balance out not only probiotics and prebiotics, you actually have to, you know, allow bile to do this job. So there's a lot of functions, and they're important for each of us. And I just want to stress that for us to see. Here's another way of how bile salts emulsify fats and gets them into the bloodstream. It gets to the bloodstream eventually. Now we're going to look at some issues with liver. And one of the big things that we're seeing is a fatty liver. Have you heard of fatty liver? I think probably 80% of the people that I see have this condition or very close to this condition. I have seen 70-year-olds already with this problem, fatty liver. And basically, I'm talking about non-alcoholic fatty liver, meaning that it's not caused by drinking alcohol. When you drink alcohol, alcohol does not metabolize in the liver, it just converts into fat. So there's no metabolism of alcohol. It's just a conversion of fat. And in this fat, it stores, you see the liver cells, look how it just starts storing in it. Now, but there's also people that have come here that has never drank alcohol in their life, and they have the same problem. The first case that I saw in this program was a lady that, maybe I told you that she was like this. We looked for her in the airport, and she was just a big problem in her liver. And she said, no, I never in my life have drank any alcohol. So the doctor didn't believe her that she hasn't drank any alcohol. It has to be. Look at your liver, how it is. She was in bad shape. And when these fat deposits stayed in the liver, now the liver cannot distribute nutrients to all the body. See, to all the cells of the body, you have 60 to 100 trillion cells that need nutrients, and they cannot get there because the distribution center is clogged up. You cannot send nutrients in. You would see people with this problem suffering from high blood pressure, obesity, diabetes. We talked about cancer, bloating, feeling bloated all the time. It makes sense, right? If you don't produce the amount of bile and enzymes that you need for the digestion of food, the food is going to stay there. You feel bloated, and you don't feel good when you eat, especially when you eat fats. Cells start dying off because the liver cannot detox efficiently. For example, you have the liver. Let's say there's one entrance to the liver and there's 5 exits out of it, right? And now you have the condition where you have deposits all over the place where things need to go out. So let's suppose it's a woman. The lady, produces estrogen every month, produces a higher amount of estrogen, and it uses that estrogen for functions of the body. And then once it's used, it goes to the liver, and the liver says, well, this is already used. It's like used oil. I'm going to get rid of it. And it's trying to get rid of it. But, hey, it's congestion. The pathway to get rid of it is congested. So now what it has to do is says, you know what, I can't get it out. It puts it back into the bloodstream. So now that woman, it's still producing estrogen, but now it also has used estrogen in her body. And on top of that, she travels around and she has these plastic bottles, these soft plastic water bottles, because she needs to drink her water. So she's drinking from these soft plastic bottles, which are actually a chemical estrogen, and it's leaching into the water. So she's drinking all these estrogen. All of a sudden, she has a mass growing in her breast for all the estrogen, and it can't get it out. Where's the problem? It started with the congestion of that fat in the liver that cannot get that extra or used estrogen out of the body. Do you follow where I'm going with this? Things, your body, it's a whole system, and it works. There's so many parts of it that are working together, and everything needs to work so that the body can function efficiently. And people don't know that these things are happening all over the place in our bodies. So why is it exploding? Why is the fatty liver exploding in our society? Well, I would say I have a special cookie recipe. Anybody here likes cookies, or only me? They call me the cookie monster. I love cookies, right? Well, homemade cookies are the best, and my grandmother has this awesome recipe. And I say, you know what? I'm just going to make a business, and I'm going to sell these cookies because they're so good. My grandmother gives me the recipe. I'm going to business. To make a business, I need clients. Now, I need people to buy the cookie, but I need customers that want to buy the cookie all the time, right? That they come and they go to the supermarket or the store where my cookie is shown, and you know what? I forgot something. I forgot these cookies, right? I need that. So what do I do? Well, let's assume that I don't have any moral values. I want to build a company, but I don't care about I don't have any moral values. I don't care about you. I just care about my bottom line. Let's assume their society was like that. Hopefully it's not, right? So what do? I start putting some ingredients. There's an ingredient. If I know of an ingredient that is addictive and actually makes you feel that you need to eat more of my cookies, that's kind of a recipe for success, don't you think? Well, fructose is that ingredient. If I put fructose, a high amount of fructose in that cookie, like high corn fructose syrup, what would happen? I get something very addictive. And it's very addictive, and you would go in and eat it and eat it and eat it. I don't need to put that in my cookie, but it makes it so that I can get addicted to it. I mean, who can eat 3 Oreos? Just 3 of them only. Who can? They're vegan, by the way. Yeah. Yeah, they are. So now, but I got a clientele that are smart. They're healthy smart. They don't go for the high corn fructose syrup. They just don't go for that. So they go for, so what do? I won't be able to sell them with high corn fructose syrup. So maybe what I do, I got an idea. I put agave. Agave. Now agave is natural, so basically you could go for it. Well, agave is 95% fructose too, so I just get you hooked up, and anywhere I can get you hooked up. And the thing is that you cannot just eat one of my cookies. You have to eat 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, or 8. And then you don't feel like you're eating anything yet. You're just starting. So basically, you could see that all these products have those ingredients because they want you to be addicted to it. Look at what it says by the Journal of American Dietetic Association. Fructose stimulates the hedonic pathways of the brain both directly and indirectly, which creates habitation or habit and possibly dependence. So it creates dependence on the meal. That's why the thing of it is that fructose is a chronic dose-dependent liver toxin. And just like alcohol, fructose is metabolized directly into fat, not cellular energy like glucose. This is by the Dr. Robert Lustig, neuroendocrinologist of the University of California. So this is happening every day. We're eating these processed food every day. No wonder we're getting our livers full of different fat deposits. Now, acetaminophen. Tylenol is the most popular. Nearly 1 in 3 Americans take acetaminophen, and the most popular form is Tylenol. There are like over 20 billion doses sold a year. And the overdose of this is the leading cause of acute liver failure. So it is actually also a liver toxin when you take too much of it. And too little too, but just, too much of it. Now, look at its damages. It's the psychiatric side effects, including dull emotional response. This is by the Journal of Sociological Science. Tylenol once a month raises the child asthma risk by 540%. Tylenol once a month increases. This is by the Journal of Allergy and Immunology. So just once a month, giving Tylenol to a child increases its asthma to 540%. And it's also associated with twofold increase in blood cancer. This is by the Journal of Clinical Oncology. So these are things that are known out there, but just continue doing them. Now, its benefits are set to by the Food and Drug Administration to outweigh this risk. It must be still asked, is the risk of injury and death really acceptable for an over-the-counter pain reliever? This is by the Journal of Hepatology. Now, I would say there's probably other ways to work with pain like this that are maybe are natural that we could probably explore in a different case. So now, if you have liver disorders, you could probably face raise of blood pressure, hypertension, type 2 diabetes, gout problems, digestive disorders, breast and pancreas cancer, kidney disease, obesity, heart disease, and cardiac abnormality. So these are some of the things that if you have liver disease or liver problems, you could face. Okay? And we're going to look at that. Now the body has a pattern. It generally cleans. This is an important slide. The body generally cleans from 9 p.m. at night to around 3 to 4 in the morning. Okay? It does a process. The liver goes through a process of producing enzymes to filter and clean your blood. It is what I call the cleaning crew. Have you seen corporate businesses? They have, people are working in these big buildings, and you have one person almost one person per floor that it's during the day cleaning the bathroom a little bit here and there and cleaning some things. But when you're leaving in the evening, so you're taking your bag and you're leaving in the evening, there comes this cleaning crew. And you see 4, 5, 6 people per floor actually vacuuming, taking out the trash. This is the cleaning crew. And if you, for any reason, don't give the time that is necessary for the body to clean, and what would happen if the buildings were not cleaned or they didn't have enough time to clean? What would you think would happen? People could not work there. It would be too dirty to work. Have you ever seen a corporate building that it's extremely dirty, that trash everywhere, and you have seen that? Okay. Oh. I never seen that, but yeah. So most places do have like a cleaning crew that comes in, and it's an expense, but they manage to do that so that the workers there can work comfortably. The body does this detox if it's not dealing with stress and is not dealing with what? Remember? Digestion. Yes. If it only happens if you're not dealing with stress or digestion. That's why it does it at a time when you're asleep. You're supposed to sleep and not have stress. This is when you're not facing any place. You're not to be in alert mode when you're sleeping. You're actually gone, right? That's why it happens at night when you're not doing that. So it happens from 9 p.m. to 4. And it also happens because you're not supposed to have any food in your digestive system at 9 p.m. Now, if you do have food in your digestive system at 9 p.m., this is not going to happen. And if this is not going to happen, let's trickle down all the results of what problems could be. And we can name them and never stop. Okay. Now, people believe that these gallstones, these stones, actually they form in the gallbladder. But this is not true. There's some that form in the gallbladder, but the majority are actually in the liver. They're called intrahepatic stones. And we'll see them. Hold on a second. See them later. Now, what could cause these gallstones or intrahepatic stones? I would classify it as overeating. When you eat too much, frequently eating or eating too big amount of food, right? You have a limit. Remember, when this limit is exhausted or it's to the limit, you won't be able to digest these things. Things were rotten. You're going to create this problem. Also, late snacking. You see, remember, you have a limit. You produce till 3 in the afternoon. When you eat late at night, you have no bile or no material to do anything with what you're eating. So late snacking will cause these intrahepatic stones. Dehydration. Anybody remembers why dehydration could cause a problem? Right, it's 73% water. It will get really thick. It will create these mineral salts will thicken in your gallbladder, right? Low-fat diets. Now, low-fat diets, we don't have them anymore, but it was a craze, and it'll probably come again in another 10, 20 years again, because it all repeats itself. High protein, low protein, high fat, low fat. I mean, it just goes on. And never carbohydrates, because they're always bad. But other than that, fats and proteins, they flip-flop all the time. So low-fat diets, if you don't stimulate your gallbladder to work, it's just going to sit there. The bile is going to sit there and calcify. Medications, when your liver is overworked on detoxing, it's going to have a problem. Medication, I also say all these natural vitamins that people drink it's all the same thing. Late night TV. Interesting, because you're supposed to at night be on relax mode. But when you turn the TV and it's dark, the room is dark, and you have this flickering every 3 seconds, your body actually cannot process stress at that time very efficiently. So you're watching these news or watching these things, your body doesn't know how to process these stress, and it's going to cause problems. Emotional stress. When you go through these emotional stress, your liver is going to create these things. Now, symptoms. How do I know I have these things? If you have mood swings, that will be a sign. If you have back pain, lower back pain, that will be a sign. Pain in your gut here. Just this type of pain here. That's another sign. I don't have any desire for food. I'm not hungry. I don't know. I eat because I have to, but I'm not really hungry. That's a sign. Extreme fatigue. You're tired all the time. You could fall asleep anywhere. If that's a sign. Not today, okay? You guys are going through a process. It's normal that you're fatigued. You start seeing bruises for no reason in your skin. That's another sign. Bloatiness. You feel bloated, like, all the time. You just eat it, it's just bloated, right? If you're not producing what you need because you have these gallstones and bile is not getting produced, you're not going to have a bacterial balance in your gut, and things go out of whack, and bloatiness. Constipation. You have constipation, you suffer from constipation. Puffy eyes, you start seeing the puffy eyes here. That's another sign of it. You wake up when you don't want to wake up every morning. You're like, boom. And you're like, I want to go to sleep. I can't sleep more. There's no reason why I should be awake. That's another sign. Now, you see, this symptoms is what tells you, dictates you. Say, you know what? Maybe I need something to change, right? These are not normal things. These are just warning things that you should consider. Now, there's some. I'm just not going to go through these right now. Many of them. You could go on and on and on. Now, you can see here where in the liver, you see these ducts completely saturated with these stones. And they also form in the gallbladder. In the gallbladder, they form, and they are actually more calcified, you would say. They have different minerals, so they're a little bit harder when they're in the gallbladder. So this is a gallbladder that they have to extract, and they have to, when they open it up, you see the gallstones that they had. Now, it's impossible for one of these to go through this little hole. Okay? It's just not going to work that way. Now, once the ducts are decongested, once you clean your liver and all these things come out, nutrients to 60 to 100 trillion of these cells are just going to get, we got food, we got energy, we got nutrients. Now, a fatty liver could hold up to 20,000 of these things. That's a lot. In other words, if you have fatty liver, don't expect that one cleanse would do it. You have to have probably 18 of these things, okay? So it's not easy, but you have to go through this in order for your body to function well. People say, I just did one and I went through the hassle. And no, you probably have to do a lot more of that. Now, some of them, look how they could look. So you just get the idea. Some of them are big, some of them are really small. We try to make them so that they're really, really small. They're made out of cholesterol. Okay, they're made out of fats. And since they have fat in them, they're really soft. And they float in the toilet when you get them out. By the way, you get them out by number 2. Okay? Now, this is another picture how they would look. Remember, you have not been eating anything, so it's easy to see that it's just little things that float, okay, in your stool. Now, I want to show you some other ones, and eventually I'm going to show you a video of a friend of mine that sent me this video. He actually took one of his gallstones and put them under the microscope. I want you to see how it looked. It's pretty cool. Now, this is how they could look. They might have a gray color or a darker color or a green, right? You see some of them are darker. These are mine a while back. These are mine too a while back. I've done many of these. This is the video. Look at the parasites inside the gallstone. You see it moving. Crazy stuff. And the stone, in the gallbladder stone, yeah. Gallstone. Yeah. You see the parasite, do you? They're moving. Look. There it is. It's wild. You could get parasites in there, yes. It's a gallstone. Well, it's augmented. I mean, it looks big in the screen, but it's something small. Now these are other ones. This is a person that came here, and he was in extreme pain. I mean, extreme pain. His testimony is in the website, in the YouTube channel. Our YouTube channel, he has a testimony there, and he did 3 or 4 of these, and he couldn't hardly walk. I mean, he was just in such pain. He was miserable. He had, the strongest medication you can, And he had gone through wellness centers, Tony Robbins, this guy, these other. He explained that he's gone through all these wellness programs, and he still was not, and he was trying to eat healthy, right? But these things is not just eating healthy. Eating healthy helps, but you got to unclog these things. You got to manually unclog them at least 1 or twice, or he did it a 3rd time. Look, he says, do you want me to send them to you? I said, no, just a picture is enough. He wanted to send, he has so many of them. And now, the guy, he's probably 68, 8 or so, and he was just a mess. I mean, like this, he couldn't, he was a strong man when he was younger, but he was like this. After 3 or 4 of these consecutive, he just did them. Now he's like, he's like a force to contend. He's too much energy. He works too much. He just doesn't want to stop. Now he's retired, but he still does his things. So I've seen these. These are black and white pictures, but I've seen this on people that are like, they want it their way. It's like people that have their, I get upset if I don't have things my way. I don't know why I see these ones on them. Now, these are kidney stones. These are different ones, okay? Kidneys we are not going to deal here now at this moment. There's a process for that too. But these are extremely painful if they come out like this. This is from surgery. Someone that, but there's better ways of taking them now than surgery. The technology has advanced and has many ways of dealing with this. Now, another filter of our body is the lymphatic system. I mentioned it yesterday, but I want to repeat it again. There's actually important that you stimulate that lymphatic system. You could see where it is, and it doesn't have a heart to pump, a pump to pump the fluid. So you have to stimulate it. The machine or the rebounders are very good. There's also the dry brushes, the exercise, the gardening. These things are very important. Lymphatics, you have to stimulate your body to actually clean and detox. Okay. Anyone has any other questions? Yeah, everything, yes, everything you consume, everything that gets into your body, it will get to the liver.
That picture you show about yourself, that's what before you came here. What kind of diet?
No, that's me here. Yeah, I am. If you look at the symptoms, I have some of those symptoms already. I need to go and do my cleanse pretty soon here. Just need to find time for doing it. I probably, with the amount of load of work that I have and responsibility, I think I have to do this probably three times a year myself. Even eating healthy here as I eat and going to bed and waking up and exercising as we do here, I still 3 times a year I have to probably go through this. Tomorrow you're going to start on that. So the intestinal one is just to prepare you for that. And we'll talk, this afternoon's class, we'll talk why are you doing all the things you're doing, okay? Yes. For parasites, yeah, if you have parasites, then we'll have to take a protocol for that. Yeah. No. That's something else that you have to do later on. Yeah. No, if I saw parasites, I would have told you on the blood test. Yeah.
Ramon, what is this series of, like you said, you would do three flushes. What does that include? Would it be 3 gallbladder
Yeah.
flushes, and that's one series?
That's one series. Then you have to repeat it again and repeat it again. 2 weeks, 2 months, 3 months after, depending.
And it's done within how much time?
Well, it could take. I think once you're in a healthy lifestyle, preparation is only probably, it's an 8-day process from preparing to finish. Now, you've done some things that I'm going to explain this afternoon that are not part of it, but I just, we include them just to make sure that everything is as smooth as possible. So deodorant. There is a class on Thursday about toxics and alternatives, and we'll talk about those things of deodorant and what you can do for those. Okay?
Ramon, you talked about hormones.
Right.
Those can be stabilized.
Yes.
Hormones at any age. Is it a myth that as women age?
No, it's not a myth. When women age, your hormone production decreases. But there are also many other functions that decreases too. So your body should be able to handle the decrease of hormones. Now, if you don't produce them to begin with, then that's a problem.
So how is that the stimulation of work? Like if you, I understand what you said about, what to do to avoid that imbalance, but is there anything you can do to
Yes,
encourage?
the same thing. Yeah, the same thing. Because your body is designed to deal with these things, right? I mean, every woman will go through menopause. So things are going to change. And those changes are going to cause different things, different reactions in the body, like hot flashes and stuff. It's just your body is doing things that it needs to do, right? Accordingly. It's not all bad. Now, when it's out of control, then that's a problem. That's a hormonal imbalance that is dictated by your lifestyle. That's not how it should be. But you could manage to get to a point where some things are normal and they're not it's not bad. It's not like, unbearable like it is now when people have these imbalances. Any other question? Okay. Thank you very much for your attention. And we'll see you in the next class. Okay?